Welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes, the podcast with hot takes on food media.
We interview popular chefs and food personalities, sample all kinds of food media, and try cooking challenges in our own kitchens.
Let's dig in. Hey, it's Justine.
And it's me, Meg. Welcome back to Pod Appétit. I'm just going to apologize for my voice at the top of the episode. I have a bit of the lurgy, as LJ would say. So please bear with me. But yes, welcome back. We are now in March, which means we are going to be talking about a few seasonal themes we had picked out. Those themes, as a reminder, are Holi, which is the Indian festival of colors, Pi Day, St. Patrick's Day, and Cookbook Roulette. Cookbook Roulette is a little game we made up where we randomly choose a cookbook from our shelf and then randomly select a recipe from that cookbook to make. We'll be picking and choosing from these themes. Some of them we may not cook at all. We might double up on some things as well. And we encourage you to cook along with us and tag us on social media and let us know what you've been cooking. I'm going to start us out today. I did do Cookbook Roulette. And I feel like I have to say I didn't cheat, I swear. I put all my cookbooks in a spreadsheet and then used a random number generator to choose the cookbook and then used a random number generator to pick the recipe to make. And the random recipe I selected was Dahi Toast from Indianish by Priya Krishna. Yes, this is the recipe she made on the HBO show Selena Plus Chef.
Yes.
Which is the only episode I've watched of that show because of Priya and will probably never, ever watch again. So that's why I said I didn't cheat. I swear.
I think that the food gods just shone a light in your favor, you know?
I think so too. It was like, here's a cookbook you like. Here's a recipe you're already a little bit familiar with since you saw Priya making it. Basically, Dahi Toast, Priya describes as like Indian grilled cheese, but I would put the disclaimer that it doesn't have cheese in it. But despite that, it does taste like grilled cheese and it's prepared in much the same way. But basically, it's a spiced yogurt sandwich. You make a filling of Greek yogurt, red onion, cilantro, serrano chilies, and red chili powder. And you put that on sourdough bread, and then you grill the sandwich on the stovetop like you would a grilled cheese sandwich. A couple of other things that make this recipe a little bit more interesting is that you top the sandwiches with chonk. In this case, it was mustard seeds with curry leaves cooked in olive oil.
Yum.
Yeah, really good. So you bloom the mustard seeds in olive oil until they pop a little bit, and then you let the leaves get all nice and crunchy in the oil. And I made another recipe with this because she highly recommends that you serve it alongside her cilantro chutney recipe.
Yeah.
It was a really good recipe. I'd never made either of these before, but I especially liked the cilantro chutney. It's just cilantro, serrano chili, lime juice, sugar, and salt. I removed the sugar just because I didn't really want a sweet chutney, but that's the only modification I made. It went really well with the Dahi Toast because the Dahi Toast is very creamy, kind of fatty. There's a lot of oil on it. So it's nice to have this very fresh, refreshing, zesty chutney to go with it. And I actually ate the remaining chutney just by the spoonful. It was really good. So that's what I've done for Cookbook Roulette.
That's awesome. You know, I did my spin. I just didn't cook it yet. I've had like a busy week where I had to do all my stuff basically on the weekends, which is also when we record. So it's like I'm half there.
I might do Cookbook Roulette again for this month because it was really fun. And it's a good way to explore your cookbooks sort of randomly. But I've already pre-selected cookbooks for my shelf that hopefully I will enjoy cooking from. I was also wondering if I could double dip with the Holi theme, but this toast and this chutney aren't traditional to the Holi festival. And they're maybe not really traditional to much of anything because Priya's recipe, well, this recipe in particular in her cookbook is very Americanized. So I don't know if there's very much traditional about this, but I couldn't double dip with the Holi theme as well, unfortunately. So what have you been cooking, Justine?
Well, okay. For so far in March, I've got a disaster and a victory, and
It's a disaster, Claire.
exactly. Let's start there. This is kind of something that I did want to tentpole. Like if I didn't, I like found it in February for Valentine's Day, but then I was like, oh, also, can a tart work for Pie Day? Like that sort of thing.
I thought about doing a tart for Pie Day too, but decided not to cheat.
Yeah. So, like, this one is sort of in between tempos, but like I said, you'll see. So I saw this recipe on Pinterest, thought it looked really cute. I, put it aside because actually the base is made up of Oreos, and while Oreos are vegan, they're not gluten-free by nature, but cut to me shopping in Sprouts, and then I happen upon a brand of gluten-free stuffed chocolate cookies, like, literally they're called stuffed cookies because you get the picture. They're Oreo knockoffs.
Yeah.
And I was like, yay, I need to go back in my Pinterest and find this thing. So the recipe is called Vegan Oreo Tart with Berry Mousse. And it was simple, and all I needed to pick up were some frozen berries and some agar-agar, which you can get cheap at the Indian grocery store. So you make the Oreo crust, Oreos, and the coconut oil just baked for a few minutes after, you blitz it, put it in the tart pan. But the mousse, here we go, is you puree the berries and then add that plus a can of coconut milk, lemon juice, maple syrup into a pan to boil. And it's all pretty liquidy. And then once you boil it, you add in cornstarch and agar-agar, stir till it's completely dissolved. The cornstarch does go a little bit lumpy, so you gotta get out those lumps. And once all that's done, you pour it through a sieve into your prepared crust and let it cool in the fridge for an hour. Now, if you haven't picked up where the disaster is yet, this tart ain't no mousse.
I was wondering, it sounds gelatinous. I don't know how much agar-agar was put into it, but that was what I was picturing for sure.
Yeah, it was 4 teaspoons, and this turned into a jelly.
No.
I felt like I was on Jabibo and Paul Hollywood was telling me I've gone all wrong. And
she put in too many leaves of gelatin.
Yeah. And this is where I learned that A, I'm not a jelly fan, and B, it really doesn't go with an Oreo crust. Like, the Oreo crust was so sweet, like so sweet, and the jelly really wasn't imparting much flavor-wise. They may have been all right, like, separately, but, and also balanced out with things that worked for them. But together, it was not a match made in heaven at all. And literally, I just had, like, my friend over who will eat anything, and he was like, you should take this out back and shoot it.
Oh, no. That's bad. When
It's
your friend
going in
who
the
eats
trash.
everything won't eat it, you know that something has gone wrong.
Yeah, but yeah, and he also agreed, like, it's together? No. Like,
Yeah, I don't think cookies and cream jelly sounds very good.
yeah, it's not what was advertised. I mean, it's the internet,
Yeah, sometimes I wonder if people have even ever tested their recipes themselves or if it just looks good in the photo and that's good enough for them.
Yeah, so that is my fail.
Okay, well, I look forward to hearing about the success story.
Oh, you'll like it.
The next recipe I'm going to talk about, it doesn't fall under any of our monthly themes, but at the request of our longtime listener, Ravenel, she saw our post about the preserved lemon meringue cake that I had made by Claire Saffitz in her Dessert Person cookbook. And Ravenel asked to hear a little bit about the lemon preservation journey. So I thought I would share that here. It actually isn't too much of a journey. It was pretty straightforward. The recipe is only 3 ingredients. It's your lemons, salt, and sugar. Basically, it's curing the lemons for a while. It's very simple. You take Meyer lemons, or any lemon, but Meyer lemons are recommended because their rinds are a little thinner and a little less bitter. And actually, as far as I can tell, whenever you use preserved lemons in a recipe, all you use is the rind. I was looking at preserved lemon recipes for using the lemons, and I didn't see a single one where you used the flesh.
Oh.
You just like scoop it out, which kind of seems like a little bit of a waste to me, but apparently that's how it goes. So you wash off your lemons really well, since the rind is what you're going to be consuming. You cut them into quarters lengthwise, and then you pack them into glass jars with a mixture of salt and sugar. This recipe was 2 cups salt to half a cup of sugar, so more salt than sugar.
Mm-hmm.
You alternate layers of the lemons with the curing mixture, and then you close up the jars. And then this recipe said to let it chill for at least a month and up to 1 year. Which is interesting to me. And you're supposed to shake it every day for the first 2 weeks approximately, because it starts to create this brine. When you first put it in there, it's just very salty lemons, but then the salt starts to extrude the moisture from the lemons and you get this nice brine. And after a while, the jars are kind of full. They look like pickle jars, because I guess that's kind of what they are. But
Yeah.
I only let them sit for a little over a month. So mine were definitely at the lower end of how long you can preserve them. They are not meant to be eaten on their own. They're meant to be used in recipes. And in this case, I blitzed it up in the batter for the lemon meringue cake.
Mm-hmm.
I did have to try a little bit of the lemons on their own because I was curious. They're very salty. It tastes like a salty lemon rind.
Ooh.
I was not surprised. You know, it's like, yeah, it's lemons that have been in salt for a month. You do not eat dead dove inside. I don't know what I expected type of thing. I thought they were good. I don't know if they were worth a month's worth of time and effort. Not that the effort level was too high, but still I didn't really taste them in the end result of the cake that much. I wondered if maybe lemon juice would have the same effect. But that being said, you don't always have to make your own preserved lemons. In fact, Claire Saffitz in her book doesn't say to make the preserved lemons. She says, go buy them. Apparently, you can find them at many Middle Eastern grocers. I was unable to, but I did find a jar months after I'd made this recipe. However, this pre-made preserved lemons were also preserved with red chili powder or red chilies. So I don't think that would have worked for my cake necessarily. So I guess I would have ended up preserving the lemons myself anyway.
Wow. So first off, I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna set my calendar reminder to go shake my lemons every day.
Oh, time to give the lemons an old shakey up.
I think that this is great use of lemon rind, because that I think of when you're just juicing lemons, you're just using the middle part and then you're throwing the rest away. So I think it's cool to just use all of it, because if you're just juicing it and then you're like, oh, I can set this aside to preserve.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
I like it.
When life gives you lemons, make preserved lemons.
Exactly.
Hold on to those lemons forever. All right, well, it sounds like you made lemonade out of your next recipe. Let's hear about it.
Yeah, so my victory is a follow-up from our last recording. I used my bare muffin pan.
Oh, yay, I'm excited.
So first off, I got a Japanese scrub brush via Carla Lolly Music's recommendation in her pan video.
Nice.
I got the exact one that she recommended for her cast iron pans.
Very
so
nice.
I did wash it without feeling any sort of, feelings of like, oh, I'm doing this wrong. It was more like, this is what Carla said to do, and I'm doing it. Yeah, here we go.
Carla knows best.
Exactly. So as per Meg's recommendation, I did make cornbread.
Yay!
I already had a gluten-free vegan cornbread recipe that worked for me. I just really needed to convert my times to be muffin time, not just like a whole pan time. That's it. And oh my God, Meg, these are so darn cute.
Yes, I want to see photos.
So I also preheated my tray so that they were nice and crispy on the outside. And from my first batch, I learned that I needed to fill the muffins all the way up so that the bears can have ears.
Oh, they look so cute. They look like big Teddy Grahams.
They do. I love them so much. I don't know what to say except like they just like popped out and I immediately looked at them and I was like, yes. I'll make this every day now.
Really well done. That's really cute.
They are. They're in all different poses. I don't know. It's just like a cool pan. And I know like it's like a makes one specific thing sort of thing, but also like the adorable factor on it. I'm like, okay, for every holiday, for every sort of thing, this is what I'm making.
Yeah, do you have an idea of what the next recipe you're going to make with them?
I don't know. See, that's like the next thing. I'm like, cornbread I know works really well because it's cast iron, you know?
Yes.
So I think, you know, this pan is also very popular from the mid-'80s. So I think if I Google it, I can probably find like the recipe booklet that came with it.
Oh, yeah.
And then what other people have been doing since the mid-'80s. So I think it's just up for me now to just, do some research.
You know how it was really popular to make lamb-shaped cakes for Easter? And then for some reason people would stick a cigarette in their mouth. Maybe there's something like that for those teddy bear pans.
Exactly.
Did you serve this with anything? Some honey butter or something like that?
Oh, just regular Earth Balance butter because my recipe that I use is just a little bit less on the salt side. So using the salted butter just adds that little bit of saltiness to it back in.
Well, they look adorable. Did you feel bad eating them?
No. I felt so
Die
happy
teddy bears.
Exactly. I don't know what that says about us, but it made me joyous eating them.
I won't eat food that has a face unless it's food that has a face. Wait a second.
Yep, that's what I got.
Nice. The last recipe I'm going to chat about today is Eggs Benedict. I think this is a classic recipe and one that I have never made. I had never made hollandaise sauce before, which is one of the 5 mother sauces, according to French chefs. So I thought I should learn how to make one of these. Oh, do you know why bechamel is a werewolf's favorite sauce?
Why?
Because it starts with Aru. Anyway, Eggs Benedict. There are many recipes for Eggs Benedict. I used one on the Food Network website by Tyler Florence. So hollandaise sauce, in case you didn't know, I didn't know, is mostly butter and eggs. A whole lot of butter and a whole lot of egg yolks with a little bit of lemon juice. And you basically whisk it up over very low heat. And that's pretty much it. You just need to make sure the sauce emulsifies. That's the hard part, I guess, is that you want to make sure it doesn't break, that it doesn't split, that it's not too runny or too thick. I did end up having to add a little bit of water at the end to get it the right consistency, but the recipe said that's okay. And did say, add a little bit of hot water if you need to. And I needed to, but it was really good. The Eggs Benedict were delicious. I used avocado instead of ham, and I would definitely make it again.
Yeah, I'm surprised this is your first time making Eggs Benedict because you seem like such an Eggs Benedict gal.
I love Eggs Benedict. My husband loves Eggs Benedict. I think it was just the hollandaise sauce was the barrier to entry. I've definitely made similar egg type things, put an egg on an English muffin and put some cheese on it. That's usually what I do. But the hollandaise sauce was good.
Oh my god, but now that you know how to make it and you both love it so much.
I'm unstoppable. I'll have to learn the other 4 mother sauces, I guess.
And then you'll be supremely powerful.
Yes. The mother of mother sauces. All right, that's all we've got on today's menu. So let's move on to today's media. Justine, what have you been consuming with your eye holes and ear holes?
So the media I've consumed this week is, again, from TikTok.
Oh no, stop. I don't want to watch TikTok.
Evil cackle. So, At Board in Chicago is attempting to eat food from every single country in the world without leaving the Chicagoland area.
That's a lot of countries.
Yes, and he's hitting up every country alphabetically. He just started the bees right now, so I'm right at the beginning of this. I love this series because I used to live in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So I love seeing the old neighborhoods. But I also feel like this could be recreated in any major city, like the one I live in now.
Yeah, totally.
I just love the spotlight on small, owned businesses and a desire to expand, a palette,
Mm-hmm.
think outside the box sort of thing. And yeah, Chicago is really culturally diverse, and it's just been interesting seeing like, oh, there's food from Albania here, like, and
Yeah.
just it's very cool. Like I said, he's just at the beginning of it, but still I'm like, oh man, that's awesome.
Even though he's just in the B's, are there any restaurants that you had been to when you lived in Chicago?
No, there is one that I knew of, but the other ones I had not heard of at all. Even though they are like in a neighborhood that like I used to live in. They might have been new. I haven't lived in Chicago in over 10 years now, so
Mm-hmm.
with how businesses fluctuate, it wouldn't surprise me if some of them were new.
Does he give a little history lesson about each country or a little primer on each country before he goes to the restaurant?
It's more about if a country has like a national dish, he
Uh-huh.
would lean to get that thing off the menu. But if it's a restaurant that has like one particular specialty from that country, he'll show that off. He does get like he gets more than one thing, but some things are a little bit not as out of the box. Like for Belgium, he got I think
Waffles?
a Belgian ale and French fries,
Oh.
like
Totally.
yeah. So some things seem like they're more just like comforts that we all know of, and then
Mm-hmm.
some things are more, national dishes.
That sounds really fun. Well, send me your favorite one so far and I'll watch it. I promise.
Okay, I will. I'm sorry I keep sending you to TikTok.
I'm going to mosey us on over to YouTube, so not that far away from TikTok. I've been watching a series called Phoning It In, and this is by the Try Guys. I thought
Yes.
maybe you might have watched this as well.
Because I'm obsessed and love Johnny Cakes.
Johnny Cakes. I thought maybe you had watched this as well. Phoning It In is a food cooking competition show. The way that they introduce every video is that they say, the mind of a chef connected to the hands of an idiot, only connected by a payphone. So basically, professional chefs like Johnny Cakes try to guide the Try Guys and friends through making a secret recipe that's unbeknownst to the Try Guy, but they can only communicate over the phone.
Yeah.
It's very funny. I've always really enjoyed Try Guys' food-related series. Their Without a Recipe series is very fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like Nailed It meets the Great British Baking Show because sometimes it's a total disaster. A lot of times it's a total disaster, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes they make something surprisingly good. But at the end of the day, I think it's just funny and silly. They've got great guest chefs like Johnny Cakes. They've also had Roy Choi, the hosts of The Mythical Kitchen, and Jimmy Wong, who is the host of Feast of Fiction, which I love. I might talk about that more at length in a different episode. It's really funny. It's pure chaos. If you think back to the Bon Appetit days, you might remember when the Try Guys were on Back-to-Back Chef with Carla.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that, except blown up
Yeah.
into a whole show.
I think this says a lot about me, and that is it's literally just in my sort of everyday watching of the Try Guys
Mhm.
stuff, or not every day, when they put out content, that I didn't even flag it as like food media that I'm consuming.
Right?
You said it.
It's
I was
just Try Guys media. It's not food media.
Exactly. I was like, oh my god, no, you're right. I did watch that. Ugh. Well, I've got something else YouTube and also BuzzFeed adjacent.
Oh.
Safiya Nygaard is somebody else who I subscribe to on YouTube, and she finally put out her video this week, or this past week for folks listening, her eating at every celebrity chef's restaurant on the Vegas Strip.
Oh, wow.
Now, she previously put out 2-hour-long parts of staying at every hotel on the Vegas Strip, which were awesome videos. I've never been to Vegas, but like literally, since she's a person who's like not into gambling, she's just in there to like go see like the attractions and like the cool things there. I'm like, oh, this makes it like interesting for me as someone, who also probably wouldn't be into gambling. I've been to like a casino like once, and just the sound of it really like bothered me.
Totally understandable. I do think it's fun to go to Vegas at least once as an adult, just because it's an experience. But I don't think it's something you have to do.
Yeah. So in her latest episode, which is a spinoff of that one, she had went to, I think, about 13 celebrity chef restaurants, from like Gordon's to Guy Fieri's to Giada De Laurentiis, you know, like. I thought there were some that were like, oh, this just looks like a steakhouse. I mean, this is Vegas. I want to see something cool and interesting. But there were some that were really cool and interesting, but also very, 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 very expensive. But I'm like, hey, if you're going for the show, you know?
Are we talking about Momofuku?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and also Morimoto's. I'm like, oh, that looks like the best sushi ever in the, like, not in the world, but like.
Not in the world. Go to Japan.
Not in the world, but here in America from Morimoto, you know. If you want Gordon's famous beef Wellington, that's where that's at. And yeah, it was a really, it's a video that I enjoy. I enjoy all of her content. It's a bit fast paced. You probably have to like watch it twice to really understand all the things that she's eating. If you especially want to catch how much they cost, that graphic goes by really fast.
Yeah, they probably don't want to discourage people too much from going.
Yeah, I think she just had a lot of information just to pack in to a video. But yeah, now I'm like, all right, gotta plan a Vegas trip.
I do think it's a good food destination.
Yeah.
If you want more details and links to all these shows and recipes we've been talking about, be sure to subscribe to our Substack. Go to podappetit.substack.com and you'll get regular updates about everything we've talked about, and in between episode updates as well. And you can also reach out to us on social media. Let us know if you are joining in our monthly themes. As a quick reminder, that includes Holy, Pie Day, St. Patrick's Day, and Cookbook Roulette. We want to hear what you're cooking up in your kitchen. So shout us out on Instagram or Twitter and share photos. We definitely want to hear about it. And if you're enjoying our show, it always helps us out if you leave a positive review. And you can watch us on YouTube, or I guess listen to us on YouTube. But if YouTube is where you listen to your podcasts, you can find us there as well at pod_appetit. We do have a Reddit talk coming up today when this episode drops. If you are listening when this comes out, we are having a Reddit talk later today with The Pious. Jessica Lee Clark Bojan will be joining us again to talk about all things pie. That's Monday, March 13th at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Today, if you're listening to the day that the episode drops. So be sure to tune in. If you can't make it to the live Reddit talk, be sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher, and we will release it on our feed later. So stay tuned for next episode.
Pie Day.
Pie Day. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
Go to podappetitpodcast.com for all our episodes and links to everywhere you can find us online.
Also, be sure to subscribe to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes on your favorite podcatcher.